Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, we'll be walking you through the next 7 to 10 days to show you what you can expect with the weather out your door. And also, before we get into the video, make sure if you are not a new subscriber to the channel to subscribe down below so you get daily weather updates on this channel each and every day, especially as I cover southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. And it also does help me out a lot to press the thumbs up button. It really does help out more than you know, so I appreciate all the likes out there as well. But getting into today's video, we do start to see that low pressure system that brought that significant severe weather outbreak across the East Coast move out here into southeastern Canada and away from anywhere into the United States as we go into this afternoon. And in fact, looking back at yesterday, it was a very active day on your Monday for August 7th. We had 548 wind reports, 96 hail reports, and right now only one tornado reported in northwestern Kansas, but I do feel that will be growing as I did see some tornadoes that did touch down across the East Coast. So the survey teams will be surveying the damage out there, and I'm sure there will be tornadoes that are reported across the East Coast. But as of now, 645 total severe weather reports dating back to your Monday, August 7th. And just to kind of show you how busy the atmosphere has been and the severe weather season has been this year, we've had 152 total tornado watches across the United States, and the densest of those are down here into the Arklatex and the Dixie Alley region. And no surprise there, as it was a very busy spring. But then looking at the severe thunderstorm watches, we're up to 458 of those, with the densest area, again, no surprise here, across the western high plains and down into the southern plains, where it has been very busy and actually does continue to be so as we move through the next 7 to 10 days. So let's show you the weather pattern today. We have the strong high pressure ridge down here across the southern plains controlling the heat across Texas, the Four Corners region, Southern California, and really all across the southern United States today. It's going to start to, lose its punch a little bit as it pushes a little further south on Thursday. But then it's going to build back north into the Central Plains by the time we get into this upcoming weekend on Saturday, August 12th, and even into Sunday, August 13th as well. As you see these maroon reds showing up, that's essentially where you can expect temperatures into the triple digits across these areas. So let's dive into the high temperatures expected for that time frame. So today, this afternoon on August 8th, we're back into the triple digits. We're up to 105 in Dallas-Fort Worth, 105 in Wichita Falls, and up to 108 degrees Fahrenheit in the Abilene, Texas region. So very hot down here and really centered across Texas. You go north into Oklahoma, Kansas, or even into Arkansas, we're going to have the northwesterly flow aloft. So that's going to create some cooler temperatures. It'll still be hot with temperatures in the upper 80s to mid 90s, but not nearly as hot as the triple digits in Texas. But don't fret, because as we go later this week on Thursday, that's going to push a little further to the north, that triple digit line toward the Red River. And then by Saturday, like I said, that's going to build further to the north into the Central Plains, and we're going to reintroduce those 100 plus degree Fahrenheit temperatures across Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and all across the southern plains here as we build that heat dome a little bit further towards the north. And across those northern areas, the northern periphery of that ridge, we're always watching for more storms. So today we're watching a nice little shortwave moving across the Rockies here. You can see that little divot here in the vorticity. And what this shows, the vorticity is just the spin in the atmosphere here and where you could see a low pressure system form. And that's across portions of the Rockies. But watch as it moves east-southeast across the Missouri Ozarks region into the lower Ohio Valley as we get into the day tomorrow on your Wednesday, August 9th. And that's going to be creating some spin and some lift for thunderstorms across that region. So looking here first on today, we do have a severe weather threat that is pretty notable across northeastern Colorado, southwestern Nebraska, getting into extreme northwest Kansas. We also have a slight risk down here near the Gulf Coast from the Savannah, Georgia area back here toward the Shreveport region as well. But the highest concern will be up here in the western high plains. That's where we could see those hailstones up to 2, even 3 inches in diameter millimeters. So big hail here across portions of northeastern Colorado, extreme southeastern Wyoming, southwest Nebraska, and extreme northwest Kansas. And that's the same area we'll be keeping an eye on, those hurricane force wind gusts where we could have a couple microbursts or even a couple downbursts that could start to develop as well later today. And the tornado threat is a little bit more elevated as well. That's up to 5%, especially into northeast Colorado. So we're going to continue to watch this threat as it evolves later on today. And looking at the timing of when you can expect these storms. So this afternoon, we're watching out for a couple of thunderstorms roaming the landscape down here across the Gulf Coast and into the southeast. A few strong wind gusts, large hail, and maybe a tornado in those areas, but that will be probably pretty brief. The main area of concern is into northeast Colorado, southeast Wyoming, southwest Nebraska, and extreme northwest Kansas. You can see storms are starting to develop all across the Front Range this afternoon. They'll move east, and once they get east into the Great Plains, especially into Nebraska, northwest Kansas, they're going to develop what we call an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. That's where we see a big complex of storms blowing up, and that's where we could see those hurricane force wind gusts, very large hailstones, and even a couple embedded tornadoes as that back builds there into northeast Colorado tonight. Then as we shift eastward through the day tomorrow, remember I showed you the vorticity signature moving east across the Missouri Ozarks into the lower Ohio Valley, and right here is the area of concern for Wednesday, August 9th, tomorrow. A slight risk of severe weather near the Kansas City region, Tulsa, and eastward towards Springfield, Missouri, St. Louis, the Paducah region, over here toward Memphis, Nashville, and even over into Huntsville and to northern Alabama as well. I do feel this may be upgraded, at least parts of this, to an enhanced risk as we do get closer and the mesoscale details get a little bit more clear. But the tornado threat is maximized down here just near the Springfield area and Memphis and toward the Jonesboro, Arkansas area. So southern Missouri getting into northern Arkansas is the maximized area of concern for tornado genesis tomorrow. But really anywhere in the Missouri Ozarks or the lower Ohio Valley, parts of the middle Tennessee Valley here into Nashville, down here in toward Huntsville, Alabama, we still have to be watching out for a few spin-up tornadoes going through your Wednesday time frame. And breaking down why we're seeing this is the instability values are going to be extremely elevated across this region. We're talking moderate to strong CAPE values. That's the convective available potential energy in excess of 2,000 joules per kilogram. And you see a couple of dynamics here with the jet stream. So looking first at your 500 millibar mid-level jet, that's going to be punching in out of the west-southwest. Fairly strong wind shear values here across the Missouri Ozarks region, and you have overlapping low-level jet in the 850 millibar layer out of the southwest. So you have a little bit of turning of the winds with height, and that's strongest across southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. That's where that tornado risk is maximized tomorrow. So looking at how this will evolve, on Wednesday morning, we'll see that complex still continuing across western Iowa, northwest Missouri, into northern Kansas here, likely in a weakening phase as it pushes here towards the Missouri Valley. By the time we get into the afternoon, this will start to reinvigorate and we'll start to see more intense storms developing, especially with southern extent into the stronger instability pool, and that's where we can start to see more damaging winds, large hail, and a couple of brief tornadoes. Then the model, at least the HRRR here at the 12Z run, does show a outflow boundary of some sort laying out across southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. That will be a focal point for additional thunderstorms to develop Wednesday evening into Wednesday night, and these could be the most significant with some damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes here from around the Paducah area back here through southeastern Missouri, getting in towards the Fayetteville, Fort Smith region, and even Jonesboro, Arkansas. So we'll continue to watch that as we go into Wednesday night. Then as we move ahead to Thursday, August 10th, just a couple marginal risk days here for severe weather. Eastern Dakotas, western Minnesota here, a couple strong storms on Thursday, and as that system exits the east coast and the southeast on Thursday, some marginally strong storms there. Again, wouldn't be surprised if one or two of these areas get upgraded to a slight risk, especially if you live in like the Carolinas or the eastern Dakotas. Something to keep an eye on as we get closer to Thursday. But overall, the total rainfall accumulation now through Sunday on August 13th, you can see where the heaviest of the rains will be laying out down here across the Missouri Valley, getting into the Tennessee Valley and the lower Ohio River Valley, and then picking up again into the northeast. That's where we're going to start to see the heaviest of rains. And looking at this area a little closer, you can see down here just south of St. Louis, the Carbondale, Illinois region, Paducah, Kentucky, down here through the Memphis area, especially into Nashville, the Cumberland Plateau down here into Tennessee. We're going to start to see more 1 to 3 inch rainfall amounts be realized as we go through that Sunday time frame. So watch out for some flash flooding. If you live in southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, Kentucky, and getting down into middle and eastern Tennessee, could be some flash flooding, especially with the hilly terrain down here. So something to keep an eye on through the weekend. But looking at the full tropical weather update here, no new tropical cyclones are still expected over the next 7 days. Very quiet across the North Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf here. That's some good news. We have tropical waves moving off of Africa at this time, but they're always getting eaten up by the wind shear. Once they get into the Eastern Caribbean, or really attempt to get into the Eastern Caribbean, they fall apart very quickly. You can have the warmest waters in the world, folks, and if you have a little bit of wind shear to disrupt these tropical waves or entities out here, it's just not going to happen. So we're going to continue to watch these fall apart over the next 7 days, and you can see that illustrated on the EPS Ensemble members guidance here. It puts all the members together, and most likely outcome is that through Friday, August 12th, we're just not going to see any tropical activity in the North Atlantic, Caribbean, or the Gulf. Things change a little bit as we get into early next week. This is on Tuesday, August 15th, and you start to see some members showing up with some at least a weaker wave moving off of Africa, and then possibly another wave moving off of Africa toward the middle of next week that we'll have to watch. Right now, the signal is for a weaker solution, so maybe just a tropical depression or just a weaker tropical wave overall. And looking at this a little bit further, the EPS Ensemble guidance, the European guidance, is showing the wind shear out ahead of this system is still pretty moderate. So as this tropical wave, the first one, moves off the coast and tries to get toward the Lesser Antilles, it may have a rough go at it as we go into the middle of next week, because it's going to run into that wind shear like we've seen all season and likely fall apart. That second wave is more intriguing as we go toward the second half of August. We'll have to see what that wave does as it moves into the main development region here towards the middle of that August timeframe. So we'll continue to watch that as we get closer. And the experts at the Climate Prediction Center still maintain August 16th through the 22nd. There is some favorability here across the main development region and getting in towards closer to the Eastern Caribbean for some tropical cyclones that could start to develop or have a more favorable environment to develop here as we get closer toward that third week of August and the second half of August, all told as well. Well, if you want additional weather forecast updates, including this video, hit the description down below the video and follow me on X at HWeather420. I definitely appreciate that as well. I update on that platform fairly frequently throughout the week. Otherwise, thank you all for all the support, all the generosity here, watching my videos and everything every single day. I do appreciate it more than you know. Make sure to leave a like down below with the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new so you get additional weather forecast updates every single day on this channel and across southern Canada, the United States, the tropics. I will be coming out with my winter forecast video for 2023 and 24 as we go into early next week, so be looking out for that. Otherwise, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their Tuesday out there.